This is the Dickey Ridge Visitor Center. This is the first thing you come to in Shenandoah National Park if you come in the northern entrance, which is up near Front Royal. So there's the Visitor Center. Over there's a separate building with a whole bunch of bathrooms, so it's a convenient spot to stop if you need to use the bathrooms. Here's the view to the west. And back around to the Visitor Center. I'm in Shenandoah National Park in the northern section up near Front Royal, Virginia. That's Skyline Drive. This is called Jenkins Gap. The parking lot is down that little road a ways. I've already parked my car there. There's Skyline Drive. Here's a look to the east. The sun's low in the sky, so maybe not the best view, but that's Jenkins Gap there looking towards the east. Up there on the left is the pull-off for the Overlook. And we're going to be going back to the parking lot and then heading off in this direction and going down the west side of the mountain on a trail called Jenkins Gap Trail, but I suspect that when we get there we're going to find out it's an old road that brought people up over the mountains here at this gap. The elevation here is about 2,300 feet. Okay, there's Skyline Drive up there. I just walked back here to the parking lot. A good sized parking lot here for people to park their cars. And I'm going this way to the west, which is supposed to take me back to the Appalachian Trail, and then from there I should be able to find this Jenkins Gap Trail, which I think is probably going to be an old road. So we'll see what we can find. Here's where you pick up the Appalachian Trail. That's the Appalachian Trail heading south. And according to that sign, this yellow blaze trail over here is Jenkins Gap Trail. So here we go down the west side of the mountain, see what we can find. I haven't gone very far down the side of this trail, but as I suspected, you can see that this is an old road. You can see how wide it is, with the part with no grass is where everybody's walking, but if you look left and right you can see that this is an old road. So here's an old road that was used probably before the park was even created to get people up and over the mountain here at Jenkins Gap. Just past a hairpin turn on this trail slash road. Now I'm heading north. Here's a view looking to the west. You can see more in the wintertime, but this is a little cleared out area here with some trees. I'm not sure what's going on with those. They don't have any leaves on them. I guess they're dying. Anyway, we're going to keep on heading down the side of the mountain. Just stopped here to show you. There's one of the big tulip poplars. There's a lot of them in this park. Right next to the trail. Okay, let's see. I've hiked about 1.4 miles and I've dropped, I guess, 1,000 feet in elevation because I'm at about 1,600 feet right now. That's looking back up where I came from. You can see it's an old road, and there's a yellow blaze on that tree there. Now, when I got to here, there's a split here. There's that rock cairn there, which somebody put up as some sort of a notice. And if you look down there, you can see that the road continues on down that way, but it's not cleared anymore. So the Park Service is not clearing that part of the road. Now if you look over here, I don't see any blazing over here either, but this trail looks like it's in use. So I'm going to, I might be right at the edge of the park boundary, but I'm going to follow this down just a little ways and see if maybe it'll take us down to the stream. We're down low enough now that all the drainage from this side of the mountain has formed a stream, but the trail never really took me anywhere that was where I could get to the stream. So I'm going to follow this down a little ways further and see where we end up. Just a couple hundred yards past that little fork in the road around a bend, and here's the little stream that's been forming as I came down the side of the mountain, and a trail goes across it and keeps on going this way. So let's keep going and see where we end up. Okay, well, if you look at that tree on the right, you can see that the yellow blazing has picked back up, so I'm feeling a little bit better about staying on this trail. Let's keep on trucking. So after I cross that creek, I find myself on another one of these old roads. So I'm starting to think that what we got here is we got two different roads that approach the mountain from the valley in from two slightly different directions, and then they meet up there at that fork in the road that I showed you earlier. The stream that I crossed is just down in the valley there to the left. So I'm going to keep heading on down the side of the mountain. Let's see. The elevation here is down to about 1,500 feet. Let's keep going down and see what happens. Alrighty, so this is the park boundary right here. Let's see, I've hiked 1.7 miles and my elevation here is about 1,500 feet. Let me step back here a little ways. And That's the trail I came down the side of the mountain on. And there's a concrete marker showing the way back up to Skyline Drive. And up on that tree, there's a sign that says U.S. Boundary, National Park Service. So there's your boundary to Shenandoah Park right there. Back this way, continuing on down the side of the mountain, is the road. But looking down there, I see it's blazed red, so I'm not quite sure. I'll have to look on maps when I get home. This might be George Washington National Forest here. They use red for some of their trails. And then coming up from that way, the road really looks like it goes off, continued off here to the right. Of course, it's totally overgrown now because nobody uses that. Instead, people veer off to the left and go up this way on this Jenkins Gap trail. So this Jenkins Gap trail looks like it's a combination of a couple different roads coming up the side of the mountain here from the west, and they come up the west side of the mountain, and eventually they all merge together into one road as it gets steeper up near the top. So I see some rocks there. I think I'm gonna sit down and eat some lunch, because it's going to be uphill all the way back to Skyline Drive. So let me get some water and food in me, and then we'll head back up. Here's a piece of a U.S. Geological Survey map that I used for the hike. Here's Skyline Drive, this red, and we parked here at Jenkins Gap. Here's the Overlook that I showed you. This dotted line here is the Appalachian Trail, and this yellow highlighted trail is this Jenkins Gap trail that I came down, and I'm down to right here where it's circled, and that red is an indication that you're at a national park boundary. And here's the rest of the road. It's shown as a dashed line through here until you get down a ways, and then it looks like it's probably paved starting down here somewhere and heading on down into the valley. So here's the hike, starting up here at Jenkins Gap, down this twisty-turny serpentine trail / road down to here, and I'm going to eat lunch, and then we're going to head back up. The name of this map is Chester Gap, 1994. And let's see, a couple other things on the map. That NAD 27 is the setting that you need on your GPS so that your GPS will match up with this map. That stands for North American Datum 1927. That little figure there tells me that my compass is off by 12 degrees to the west in this part of the park. So I have to take that into account when I'm using my compass. I have to take that 12 degrees of western error declination into account. That tells me that each contour line is 20 feet of elevation. And those numbers that you see, 43, 44, 45, 46, and over here you see 98 and 99. Those are UTM coordinates, which is a metric coordinate system, and it's 1,000 meters from here to here, and it's 1,000 meters from here to here. So each one of those squares is a square kilometer. Well, before I ate, I decided to climb down the side of the hill here to take a look at the creek. It's a nice little creek here, and normally I would eat here, but the bugs are just incredibly dense down here right now. So I think I may go back up to the park boundary marker and eat up there. Here's what it looks like. Today's exciting cuisine for lunch is pretty much what I always have. There's some star-kissed, ready-to-eat tuna salad, original deli style. I'm going to dig them out with that plastic spork and put them on those tortillas and roll them up. Got water to drink. Over here we got an apple, Nature Valley, dark chocolate and nuts, trail bar, and the always popular Keebler cheese and peanut butter crackers. There you have it, lunch on the trail. Just got done eating. I'm killing some time here at the bottom of the mountain. Thought I'd just point this stuff out. This moss is growing all over the place down here on a section of the road that's not used. It's real green, and it's real thick. It feels like carpet. It's pretty cool stuff. Still killing time here at the bottom of the mountain, so I thought I'd pull my stuff out of my emergency gear sack and show you what I carry in my emergency gear sack. I'm sure other people have different things they carry, but this has worked for me. I have problems with my knees sometimes, so I got an ACE bandage in case my knee starts hurting me. These are iodine tablets for treating water, to make water safe. And after you use the iodine, then you put these tablets in there to neutralize the color and to try to neutralize the iodine taste. Iodine treated water tastes nasty. This is a snake bite kit, which I've almost had to use before. Almost stepped on a rattlesnake one time. A Bic lighter. Inside here, some Strike Anywhere matches. This is rough on the outside, so I strike them on the outside there. Here's another waterproof container with matches in it. This is a space blanket, emergency space blanket. This is a magnesium, I gotta get the bugs out of my face here. This is a magnesium fire starter. You you scrape magnesium off of here until you have a pile of it, and then you strike this side and get some sparks going. The magnesium burns at a real high temperature once you get it burning, and you can use that to start fires. Here's some bug spray that's like 100% DEET. At the rate these bugs are coming after me, I may need some of that here in a minute. There's a LED headlamp. I actually have two of them inside my my kit here. I think I got this at Dick's Sporting Goods. This is a Trek 1, a Coghlan's Trek 1 first aid kit. You know, it's got Neosporin and bandages and gauze pads and tape and stuff like that in it. Here's some things I use to start fires. These are cotton balls that have been soaked in Vaseline. This is birch bark that I got off my next door neighbor's tree. It's constantly shedding birch bark, and birch bark is full of a resin and it burns like crazy. In here, some more fire starters. Those are little solid fuel tablets that burn for quite a while. And then those little things that look like wicks, those are pieces of twine that I soaked in wax, candle wax. So they're like matches that burn for quite a while. And that's pretty much it for the emergency gear. So maybe that'll give you some ideas on stuff to take. That's a little, really too much for a day hike, but you never know, and I hike alone a lot, so it's better to be prepared than to need something and not have it. Well, there's two more big tulip poplars that grew up next to each other and grew together at the bottom. Great big tall ones. You can mostly identify these trees by their leaves. They have a very distinctive shaped leaf, and the big tulip poplars like those have a very distinctive looking bark. But to be honest with you, in the wintertime it's hard for me to tell them from some other trees. But during the growing season, they're pretty easy to identify. I'm stopping here for a second to catch my breath. I'm about 3.2 miles into my hike, and I'm more than halfway to the top now. The elevation here is about 2,200 feet, and I've got about 400 more vertical feet to climb. That's the trail going up. Here's what it looks like at this little clearing. That's looking to the west. That's the Massanutten Mountains, way off in the distance there. There's going down the trail. That's where I just came from. And way up there somewhere that I can't see at the moment, way up there is Skyline Drive. So I'm going to get some water, catch my breath, and then keep on heading up the hill. I'm back to the car now. Before I took off these gaiters, I thought I'd point these out. I got these from REI. They're used to cover up your socks and your boots so that you don't get debris from the trail down into your socks and down into your boots while you're hiking. They come in different sizes. That's probably the shortest size that they make. They make taller ones too, but since I have these low cut hiking boots, those seem to work good. I've used them a couple times, and they do seem to do a good job of keeping the dirt out. So you might take a look at those. They're called gaiters. You can get them from REI and other places too. This is Jenkins Overlook, Jenkins Gap Overlook. This is the turnoff where you can turn off Skyline Drive to stop your car and see the overlook. There's a ridge line behind there. This is looking to the east. There's a gap in the mountain. So that's looking to the east. There's Skyline Drive heading north. That's the way we'll be going back. Had a pretty short hike today, so I think maybe I'll stop at a couple overlooks and give you some shots from a couple of the overlooks on the way back up to Front Royal. And that little road that veers off to the left is goes to the parking lot where my car's parked. Here's a view at the Signal Knob Overlook. The elevation here is about 2,100 feet. That's looking to the west. That's the Massanutten Mountains in the distance. Up there at the north end is called Signal Knob, and that has some historical significance. During the Civil War, the end of that mountain there, Signal Knob, was used as a signaling station. And just a little to the left, the rise up there, just a little to the left of the end there, that's called Manica Peak. That's a nice hike up there. I've hiked up there before.